Today, my friends, I have for you a Town Hall 10 bat spell guide, and this guide is going to teach you guys who are probably brand new to bat spells on how you guys can master bat spells at Town Hall 10. We're not just going to be going over some of the basic stuff, for instance, Bat Bomb and Bat Wave, but also we're going to be talking about strategies that can really work well with bats. So with that being said, let's jump straight into the guide. Alright, so before we actually start, showing you guys the attack strategies that we have here with the bat spells, let's go over some concepts that you guys need to remember when you guys are using bat spells. Now, of course, bat spells are nothing new. Of course, a lot of people have seen bat spells such as DragBat, Pekka Bats, and also even Mass Pekka, or even just some other bat spell strategies, which we will be looking at in this video. We've got about 3 different attacks here, so it shows you guys 3 different great strategies that you can use with this. But we're not going to go super in depth on exactly how to use the bat spells at 10. I want to kind of show you guys some basic things before we move into the really good strategies with these bat spells that you can really take advantage of, and we'll talk about them as we go through. So the basic concepts here is the bats are going to be weak to splash. So let's kind of talk about what that splash is. Specifically, it's going to be multi-infernos and wizard towers. Those are going to be extremely huge, and that's what you got to look for on every single base design, no matter what bat spell strategy you do. Now, it's also going to be dependent on other defenses and how they're laid out, but other than that, those are going to be your main defenses when you're thinking about using the bat spells, and you get value from them. Typically, with any sort of bat spell attack, you're looking to at least get rid of one multi-inferno. Then you can either do a bat bomb or a bat wave on the opposite end of the multi-inferno, or a wizard tower, etc. Now, you sometimes will be using a rage spell in this case, where you would drop your rage, then your bats, and then your freeze on a multi-inferno, and you would take that out. You also want to consider freeze value. So freeze value is something such as like having a freeze in between these 2 buildings here, or having a freeze right here as well. And the only reason I say that with the Expo is because Expos and Teslas can actually do really well against bats, since of how fast they hit. And honestly, they're still deadly defenses as long as they're not being overwhelmed by the bats, meaning that if they're at a safe distance, they can pick off the bats relatively easy. So you've got to consider this when you guys are using the bat spells, so freeze up the value as much as possible. This also includes air defenses as well. They can slowly but surely take out the bats. It's not as quick, but as long as they're in a safe position where the bats won't get to them, they'll do their work on those bats. But specifically, those are just common things. So let's go ahead and show you guys an example of a bat wave, and let's kind of explain that a little bit, and then we'll move on to show you guys and explain to you a bat bomb, and then we'll go in and explain the attacks. So the first one on this base design, which we will be watching later, you can tell that there is a bat wave right here. Specifically, a bat wave is putting all your bat spells on the outside of the base, so that then they could go over to this multi-inferno and take it out. You may want to use a freeze spell, especially if you notice that there is low health on this Pekka, so it will take that Pekka out, meaning that you'll have this beam right here to lock on to any bats. There could also be some low health over here, especially on like a giant, where then it's now going to be 2 beams onto those bats. So definitely that's not something that we want, and instead we should probably freeze this part up. That gives us some freeze value there, along with that air defense. Since the bats aren't overwhelming the defenses so quickly, it's going to take some time to accumulate. You want to use those freeze spells so that then that allows them to get right there, and then they can start moving on to the next defense and start overwhelming that. So if we take a look at this example right here, you can see that once he drops the freeze spell, boom, most of the bats go over to the multi-inferno and we'll take it out with ease, and moving on to the next structure. So let's go ahead and show you guys an example with the bat bomb instead. Now right here, what you're gonna see is gonna be a bat bomb. This is specifically going to be with the Rage Freeze Bats or Rage Bats Freeze. It's gonna be, it can be either way, so it's just dependent on you, but we are using this over the Multi-Inferno. We've taken out one Multi-Inferno. This is commonly used in DragBat attacks, and we will be looking at this replay later on. But notice that there is a wizard tower right near that Inferno. However, we don't actually have to use a freeze over that, and instead we can actually freeze over the Expo, since that's actually a little bit closer. But not only this, but look at how we have a golem going in. And why is a golem going in terms of a DragBat, and how does this help with the bat bomb portion? Specifically the bat bomb, well, if you were going to freeze up that wizard tower, then you probably would. However, the golem, what that golem provides is it provides you with a way to almost act as an ice golem like Town Hall 11, except at Town Hall 10 you don't have access to it. So golem works, if not better, especially since it has a lot more health and it can tank for longer. So obviously, but what the thing is though, is it does not have that added freeze. But it does pop out as 2 golemites, so unless the wizard tower retargets, that's still really good because it'll tank for your bats. So as we watch this example of the bat bomb, notice that he's dropping the freeze, and I'm putting this on half speed so you guys can see it. But the rage, freeze, and bats, the bats overwhelm them, and the rage really helps them rip through those defenses very quickly. And you can see this gives you an idea of how you guys can use the bat bomb to your advantage to take care of that entire area. So let's go ahead and take a look at, well, some bat spell attacks, and we're going to show more than just one. Let's go ahead and show you guys some bat spell strategies, so then you guys can learn how you guys can use bat spells a little bit more with strategies here at Tunnel 10. So here we go. We got the first strategy here, and we're just gonna go straight into it, and I'll explain it as we go through. So we've got here Mass Pekka Bats. Yes, you heard me right. It's Mass Pekka and bat spells. Of course, we have some other spells and some cleanup / funnel troops, but a majority of this is Pekkas. Now, why would this attack be chosen? Since multi-infernos are really prevalent in the meta, and it doesn't matter on how the base is designed, sometimes you may see singles. I wouldn't use this on singles, but if you see multis, this is a really good strategy. You're specifically looking for a large amount of wizard towers near your entry point. So you want to attack away from the town hall to get value from that. You want to heal and rage up your Pekkas and bowlers from your wall wrecker as you move through the base. If you're lucky enough to get a bowler bounce on a multi-inferno, that's even better. Now, we saw from earlier a bat wave, and the bat wave portion should be used onto that multi-inferno to take it out. This way, once that freeze goes down, the bats are able to much more easily combine into one group and completely start taking out defenses. I was trying to think of a different word, but you guys get what I'm saying. And you can see from here, even if you don't get all the bat spells with the Pekkas, most likely you are going to get to the core of the base, and that's what you're looking for. So when you guys are using this type of an attack, just make sure that you're taking a look at, where are those wizard towers, and can you get easy pathing with your wall wrecker to actually get them in. That's the idea. So let's go ahead and take a look at another example with this attack strategy. So here we go, we've got another replay here with this one, and we can tell from here, the wizard towers are a little bit more spread. However, we want to try and take a look at where our entry point would be. Specifically, we're looking away from the town hall, adjacent from it. Then what we want to see is, can this wall wrecker open up as much of the value as possible so that then the heroes can also help out at taking out the wizard towers? That's what we're looking for. So as we enter into the base here, you can see that wall wrecker placement, it's going to give us access to about a wizard tower or two. It's going to give us access to the multi-inferno. That's a really huge help. It can actually get us quite far into the base. We can now actually have access to all the splash here as long as that wall wrecker keeps going. since our queen can still pick off the other multi-inferno or wizard tower, we can now have our queen target this multi-inferno. We have a lot of areas where we can get some splash from. Notice that we're getting actually most to all of the splash thanks to the Pekkas and bowlers as they move through the base. That's really important because you want to try and get as much value as possible. So you can see that even though we didn't get the multi-inferno, as long as we get one multi-inferno, that's really good. And even if we had to use both free spells on one defense, you got to keep in mind that sometimes your bats are just not going to be enough to completely wipe out the last remaining defense. That's where you got to really be, like, you got to be lucky there. So in terms of bat spell attacks, just got to keep in mind that sometimes there might be something that goes wrong in terms of either, you know, the bat's not pathing as the way that you want it to go or anything like that. You can still save this attack though, thanks to Pekkas if there are still some alive, and usually there are still. Pekkas are really dominant right now, and especially against multi-infernos, they can really do a lot of work. So I would 100% recommend this type of an attack. Let me know if you guys want to see a separate guide to this, and I will bring this one to you guys. But I wanted to bring this bat spell guide in general, so then you guys can see more. There's just more than just DragBat in terms of a bat spell attack. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, which is going to be the Bat Slap. So let's go ahead and take a look at this base design right here, and let's point out a few things here as the replay goes through. You want to try and take a look at as much value as possible. So you're looking for good value for where you can send your wall wrecker in. And we're sending our wall wrecker in about this direction here. This gives us access to a lot of splash. This actually gives us access to about 3 of the splash, I believe. It'll open up quite a few of those compartments. It will allow us to open up quite a bit. It'll open us up to 2 wizard towers. We've already gotten 1 down thanks to the witches, and we'll also be able to get into the multi-inferno compartment. And that's really, really important, especially since we want to try and get at least 1 multi-inferno. And even if we can't, you know, it's still fine, because most likely we should be able to still get it in some fashion. But notice from here is that we are getting a lot of good value. And with the bat portion itself, you want to really take your time in and see, will you really need to use your bat spells? Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. And actually, here's another really good example of well, the bat spells were being used, but he didn't really have to, because he still had the queen's ability. And you could probably didn't have to, or you didn't need so. But shows you guys another really good example. A bat bomb without the rage spell is what was being used here. You can actually use that. That's still actually a viable way of using your bats. However, you don't immediately have to. So obviously it's going to be up to you, but there's the example of using the bats on top of that multi-inferno. So let's go ahead and show you guys the last one that we have here for you guys, which is going to be the DragBat. So here we go. We've got our first DragBat here. We're going to put it on ×2 just because we are a little bit crunched for time, and I don't want to keep you guys here for long. But specifically with the DragBat is you want to make sure that you're setting a funnel before you actually start using your dragons, so that then the dragons don't start wandering onto the outside. I know this, I've used DragBat for quite a while, and it's definitely something that you need to do. Just keep that in mind. And you notice that the bowler was being used. That's called a bowler bounce. It's a very, very good way of getting value for a funnel. So I would highly encourage that you guys really try that out when you guys are using really any strategy. So as you're sending in your dragons, you're looking for as much splash on the base as possible, and you want to get 1 multi-inferno. So this is really going to be very important. And you saw from earlier the bat wave and how you guys can really be using that a little bit more effectively. And the golem specifically being used to tank for the wizard tower, so that then the bats can take out that wizard tower without being targeted. That's extremely important. Now, one last thing I forgot to mention when you guys are using bats is if there is an air troop that goes by a trap or triggers one and then it dies or something like that, it's actually going to target to those bats next. So really keep that in mind and be very careful when you have either a loon, dragon, baby dragon, healer, anything that flies right near those bats. So let's go ahead and take a look at another example with the DragBat. So here we go. We got another example of the DragBat, and let's go ahead and time to this again. But with this, we want to really take a look at setting the funnel. So using a regular Sui hero is, again, a great option for this. I've done it quite a few times, and you saw from the other one that there was a split as well. So that's really important. But we also want, again, make sure that you're looking for the splash. You're looking for the splash buildings, like with any dragon, well, with any DragBat or bat spell attack. But specifically as well, is we want to try and get value from our Batmon, which specifically is going to be using them and getting freeze value from either a Wizard Tower and a Multi-Inferno. Now, you may be asking as well, before we end this off, let's talk about the Stone Slammer. The Stone Slammer should only be used either when you're going into the attack, so you can use it with the DragBat, or you can wait a little bit and have it go for a Wizard Tower or anything like that. Now, specifically, that's going to be, you know, either in a Bat Wave or even in a Bat Bomb as well. So it's going to really be up to you, but that gives you guys another really cool alternative here. So there is one last strategy I actually want to showcase before we end this off, and that's going to be a Bow Witch with bat spells. Let's go ahead and show you guys that one before we end off the video. Now, I'm not going to explain this one too much in detail, as it is a standard Bow Witch. You're going to be sending in your wizards your witches and also your bowlers behind. You want to try and make sure that they're setting a solid funnel for the heroes as they move through. Once you've done so, you should be able to get into the core of the base, which isn't going to be too difficult. But remember, this is a bat spell attack, so you're looking for as much splash as possible, including the Multi-Inferno. If you can get the Multi-Inferno, you are completely set. And by looking at this example here, the only two structures we did not get that weren't any splash, or that was splash, was the Multi-Inferno Tower and Wizard Tower. I'm going to times 4 through this a little bit, just so that then I don't have to completely, take all your time, since this is already getting to be a long video. But of course, with this, you don't really have to use the bat spells as much, but obviously, if there is still that Multi-Inferno, you can use it just like that. But this gives you guys another really unique option of using a Bow Witch with bats or something like that. So definitely, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I really did enjoy making this, especially since it's all about bats. So definitely feel free to comment down below telling me if you guys did enjoy this video, and also let me know if you guys want to see all these other strategies as their own separate. Also, feel free to join the North Watch. I'm going to be leaving a link down in the description to join all the clans that I cover in the description. Feel free to follow me on Twitter @_CorruptYT. Join my Discord server, which is also in the description, and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss anything. With that being said, that's going to do it, guys, for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.